Less than a month ago, I traveled to the southwest Georgia town of Colquitt.
I am Danny, and welcome to my channel, Danovator, where my experiences become your adventure. Remember to please subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified when I release my next adventure.
Colquitt is sometimes referred to as Georgia's first mural city. Just look at that magnificent mural on those grain bins. Today we're going to take a little walk and a drive and explore Colquitt's story through its murals. The first mural that we'll explore, which is located on West College Street on the side of the Walgreens building, is a great introduction to today's adventure. It is titled, "We've Got a Story to Tell." Those from Colquitt's past to the citizens of today. Their past experiences provide us with great stories, which are illustrated on these walls we will see today. Let's look at our next mural. Located on West Main, it is titled Gospel of the Rock. This mural has some interesting details. On the first page of the San Francisco Chronicle is an article that reads, "Three break the rock." In June 1962, 3 men escaped from Alcatraz, a federal penitentiary located in San Francisco Bay, California. They were Frank Morris and 2 brothers, Clarence and John Anglin. The Anglin brothers were from nearby Donaldsonville, Georgia. A 1979 movie, Escape from Alcatraz, starring Clint Eastwood, chronicled their daring breakout. The first thing that catches my eye on this mural is the large elephant. The title of this mural is "The Circus Comes to Town." It is one of 3 panels on this wall. This certainly had to take place in the early 1900s. I mean, look at that old car. Its backstory is of this couple's first date to the traveling Big Top. They would get married and would sometimes refer back to their life adventures together as a 3-ring circus. The middle panel, which took place back in the 1920s, tells the story of when the bull comes to Colquitt. A bull, whose pen was located on South Cuthbert Street, one day escaped and made its way to where the Terror Inn is now located. His owner had to be summoned to lead him back to his home. The last panel, titled "A Young Soldier Leaves Colquitt," shows a son who is heading off to World War II. Some of our soldiers returned home while others didn't. This mural tells the story of a son who was declared missing in action, but his father decided to travel overseas and was able to retrieve his son's remains and bring them back so his son could rest in peace in his hometown. Our next mural is on the corner of Main and Cuthbert Street. It depicts the train stopping at the old train depot. I like how the artist utilizes all the surface of the wall to bring this mural to life. And across the street is this 1950s depiction titled "Hanging Out on the Square." The town square was a great place to meet up with your friends, see the picture show, and form relationships that will stand the test of time. Off of Main on 1st Street, I want to check out a couple of structures. Well, it looks like they're going to redo this building. That's good. And look at this odd-looking tall structure. I better hurry or I'm going to get hit. As I made this turn back on Main Street heading east, I found this alley that is appropriately called Ghost Story Alley. I am going to tell you about 3 of the stories depicted. The first is titled Bat's Hammock. Bat's Hammock was an area of woods near Colquitt. Once a hunter was walking through these woods when he was startled by a loud noise coming at him. He quickly ducked behind a tree. A mysterious man was dragging this large, heavy bag that back in the day was known as a horse satchel. He would cautiously look around as he disappeared in the distance. The question always was, who was this mysterious man and what was in that bag? Our next story tells of a red-haired woman who had been buried alive. For some reason, possibly to move her grave, her body was dug up. To everyone's surprise, her hands were full of her pulled-out red hair. She apparently went crazy after awakening in her tomb. A young girl had heard the story and cried to her father that she was afraid of also being buried alive one day. Her father reassured her that when she is laid to rest, there would be a telephone placed in her casket, so if she awoke, she could call him and he would come get her out. The last ghost story I want to tell is titled White's Bridge Ghost. A young bride was to be married at the Pilgrim Rest Church, which stands next to Spring Creek and White's Bridge. She was stood up at the altar and became so upset that she climbed to the top of the rail and jumped to her death. For decades, there have been strange sightings around the old church and the cemetery. Some say it's the heartbroken bride searching for her lost love. Across from Ghost Alley is this mural called Neighbors. It looks like life on the old farm, but what has really happened is the farmer was injured and his wife tends to his needs, and a grandmother and the young children have to step up their game to ensure that all the chores are done. But it's also planting season. It would seem that the family is doomed, but the community gets together and ensures the crops are taken care of. Now that's a great example of good neighbors. Our next mural is inside the old cotton warehouse. It is now home to Colquitt stage show known as Swamp Gravy. I was allowed to just film the mural and not the inside areas inside the cotton hall because a funeral service for one of its cast members had just concluded. The mural inside is called A Saturday Morning in Colquitt, Georgia. As the name implies, it's a typical Saturday along East Main Street during the 1930s. Nug's Cafe, which is next to the Cotton Hall in the mural, was a popular restaurant back in the day for both white and blacks. While I was filming this mural, it gave me a feeling of viewing a sacred work of art. I want to thank that Swamp Gravy staff member for allowing me to film this mural today. Across the street from the Cotton Hall is our next mural. It is titled Summer in the Swamp. This mural tells the story of children's experiences in the swamp. A father and son forgot their fish stringer and had to stuff the fish in their pockets, their tackle box, or anything they could find. A girl with her family are in that boat and left the dog on the bank. The dog began to swim to them and an alligator darted for the dog and the girl smacked it with the paddle. The last mural that we'll be able to walk to in town is right on the other side of the fire department building. It is titled Nuthin But a Will. It had 3 scenes. A storm must have blew through and damaged it. If that's why it's damaged, then ironically the middle scene would have shown a rescue of a woman after a tornado in 2005 tore through Miller County. The first scene would have been volunteer firemen signing a personal note to borrow money to purchase the jaws of life. And the last scene, which half is still in view, showed the bike brigade. The bike brigade consisted of a group of young African Americans who wanted to be part of the fire department, which was all white at the time. To get to the last 2 murals, I'll have to go get my car and drive to their locations. Heading south on US Highway 27 out of Colquitt, on the right, on a building where Puppy Perfections Grooming is located, we find another mural. It is titled, I Remember When. This mural is a tribute to the family of the artist Jimmy Phillips. It is set up in a scrapbook design. Ruby's Cafe was owned by Jimmy's grandmother, Ruby. And in 1961, Elvis Presley paid it a visit. You can see a silhouette in the window. Then there was Phillips Oil Company, which was owned by Ruby's husband, Audrey. He believed in service with a smile. J.C. Oil Company was owned by Jimmy and his father, James. They had the cheapest gas in town. Jimmy was known as the Bubblegum Man. Our final mural takes us to the north side of town where the old Miller County Middle School was located. It is on Perry Street. The mural is called the Peace Wall and is what all great communities are in search of. Peace for all that dwell within. I like the path through the pine trees, and I think it's a nice touch to have the two doves. Everything about this mural cries out, "Let there be peace on earth."
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed my adventure today exploring Colquitt, Georgia and all their murals. Remember, if you like this video, to give me a big thumbs up. And always remember, your adventure awaits with the Danovator. I'll see y'all the next time.